What's up, guys? King Crisis here. Welcome to part 3 on what if Deku was a waterbender. Honestly, didn't really think I was going to get to a part 3 on this, but recorded part 2. And as I got done recording part 2, I seen people requesting for a part 3. For a part 2. And I didn't upload it yet. Of course, I recorded it. Anyways. That being said, since people are already requesting for a part 2, I went ahead on and recorded part 2 and decided I'm going to record a part 3 immediately afterwards. So, let's start this video. This video starts off where we last left off, with Deku making it home and explaining everything to his parents about what him and Tania are actually capable of when they combine their powers together. This intrigues both Inko and Hasashi greatly, and Hasashi starts convincing Deku to try hooking up with her, Think about the family. And this causes Deku to actually low-key start thinking about that a little bit. And it actually continues to be going throughout his head throughout the day. We cut on over towards Class 1A getting onto the bus. As everyone is loading up and heading towards the USJ, they begin to discuss who are the strongest in the class. It comes down in between the top 4. Obviously, at the very top is Deku. Deku has shown to be the most powerful in the class, like pure power-wise. So far, they believe that the one with pure power is Todoroki, because Todoroki has just demonstrated some absolutely insane shit. Number 2 is Todoroki, of course, because they've seen Todoroki just one-shot a building. But it seems Deku has more skill than Todoroki. And more or less, they do believe that if they were to get into a fight, Deku would probably win, because so far, Todoroki's quirk is ice. And they believe that Deku is able to manipulate ice since they've seen what him and Tania were able to do together. So they believe that Deku probably could just do that naturally. They aren't really sure. But they've seen Deku manipulate ice, and they are aware of the fact that he can do so. And since they are aware of the fact that he can do so, they're not really certain on this matter. Then, number 3 is Tania. They've seen her perform some very interesting and unique moves, combo moves with Deku, and pretty cool techniques when it comes down to her wind quirk whilst fighting against Tsukiyomi. Number 4 is Bakugo. They've seen... Actually, I'm gonna piss him off. Number 4 is Tsukiyomi. This causes Bakugo in the back to just start rambling. She says, "No, that fucking feather isn't stronger than me." Yes he is, replied the whole class, instantaneously. He's stronger than you. Grow up. As they say this causes Bakugo to just start ranting. And as Bakugo's ranting, no one's listening to him. No one's listening to Bakugo's rants as they just let him go on. With no one paying attention to Bakugo, this just makes him go off more. Like, he starts going off even worse now that no one's listening. And this causes Deku to just start laughing at him. "This is entertaining," Deku would say. "Fucking explosive bastard upset that he's not one of the strongest. How much you wanna bet if I were to fight that bird I would win?" Everything you got in your pocket. Matter of fact, everything in your bank account. Hell, I'll bet everything in my bank account. As Deku says this, just the bus goes silent. And Bakugo looks at Tsukiyomi and says, "You're gonna have to catch me after this." And Tsukiyomi would just nod his head because he does not give a fuck. Because let's just be realistic. At this point in the story, Tsukiyomi would slam Bakugo. Now, Sports Festival, Bakugo destroys. But at this current point, Tsukiyomi would beat his ass. Anyways, we cut on over towards them inside of the USJ. From here, things play out similarly to as they did in the original timeline. Except for when Korigiri arrives, Deku tries to attack along with Bakugo and Kirishima. But of course, they're still all teleported away. But here's a major issue. Deku was teleported into the water zone. They set themselves the fuck up, okay? This is the biggest setup they could have possibly done to themselves. Because with Deku being teleported into a huge, and we don't know how big the water zone actually is, but I'm just gonna say like a fucking scrumptious body of water. And like I said several times, if Deku is submerged or surrounded or in any area where a large source of water is at, he becomes stronger. Like way stronger. And not only is Deku submerged in water, but he's obviously enough around a huge body of water. And Deku will close his eyes underneath that water as he would breathe in and breathe out. As suddenly, the water begins to move at much rapid speed underneath the water. Deku begins to slowly but surely, I forgot what it's called, I think it's a typhoon, like where all the water is like like when the water is like spinning really fast and it's like this little circle in the middle where like a water tornado. Fuck it. Like literally, he literally starts creating a humongous tornado. As it begins to swirl at rapid speeds, Deku begins to literally cinch throughout the water if there's anyone important to him in there. And of course, he found Tsuyu and Mineta. He snatches them up real quick and jumps out of the tornado. He then proceeds to stick his hand out as he has water wings holding him up and holding Tsuyu and Mineta up as well. Alright, my bad, whilst having water hands hold the two of them. He pointed his hand downward and snapped his fingers. And as soon as he does so, everyone within that water suddenly were all just straight up boomed, all knocked unconscious, and they all would fall to the ground, with a huge body of water just floating behind Deku as he flies off. With Tsuyu and Mineta being put into a safe space, Deku will create a water bubble around them, saying that since the two of them are honestly pretty, like, Tsuyu is pretty good on her own, but he looks towards Mineta with just no shame and says, "But you're weak. You cannot fight, you cannot do anything on your own. Therefore, stay in the damn bubble." He's like, but I you're right. It's like, yeah, of course I'm fucking right. I wouldn't have said that if I wasn't right. And Mineta can do nothing but sit there quietly. Of course, what else would he would not? Let's just be realistic. If he, like, what would he have done? Throw a fucking ball at them? Yeah, nah. Deku's not letting him fight. So Mineta is forced to stay there. He's forced to just to sit there inside of Deku's bubble until Deku's able to take care of every villain here. The battle would begin. As Aizawa is being held up by the Nomu is struck by a water fist 10 times the size of its body, as the Nomu is sent flying. Well, from there you will see Deku land. And now, normally when Deku's around a good enough source of water, his pupils will become blue. Deku's whole entire eye is not only glowing blue, but they're glowing white and blue. So basically his eyes turn white with a blue shade coming off of them. He then will just turn. All of you thought that you stood a chance against me. None of you do. Deku then will shoot a massive wave of water towards the Nomu yet again. But Kurogiri will pop open a portal and the water flows through it. Literally, like Kurogiri just caught that whole body of water and proceeds to close its portal. Oh shit, Deku would say. And as soon as he says this, the Nomu gets up. Kill him. Now, Nomu. Boom! The Nomu blitzes and booms Deku. Deku is sent flying. From there, he's sent flying and he just slams onto the ground. And he's literally, like, he's hit so hard that he drags across the ground. And he slowly but surely, like, it gets up and just roars. Ew. What the fuck? Deku would say. Yeah, that thing is fucking disgusting. The Nomu comes running in as it just like grabs the Deku, who slowly stood up and proceeds to slam his head into the concrete. As this happens, Deku will lift up his hand because there's still some water around, and he would form a water blade and he slams it into the Nomu's stomach, but the Nomu just, it doesn't budge. It literally starts slitching its teeth forward in order to bite Deku. As this happens, Aizawa proceeds to like wrap his bandages around the Nomu and try to pull it off of him. But from there, Aizawa is snatched by Shigaraki. As Shigaraki goes in and he proceeds to place a palm on Aizawa's forehead. As it happens, Aizawa begins to decay rapidly. And well, Deku sees what's happening. And he sees Aizawa dying like very, very, very quickly. And Deku, in a moment of pure instinct, steam poured off of Deku's body as he binged, uppercut the Nomu, zoomed forward, tackled Shigaraki. As Shigaraki begins to laugh as he sees Aizawa bleeding dramatically. Low-key, you know what? I'm gonna take that whole scene back. I'm sorry, but I felt like if Shigaraki would have grabbed Aizawa from the head, he would have died instantly. So we're just gonna say he palmed Aizawa's hand and slowly began to decay his hand. So you know, yeah, his arm, because like, if I would have made him fucking decay from the head first, Aizawa would have died immediately. So, you know, I'm saying he started with his hand, you know, because why not? And this leads to Deku still doing what I just said he did. But, you know, like off pure instinct alone. As this happens, Deku would stand upward, And he proceeds to start shooting blasts of water towards the Nomu. And the Nomu begins to swat all the waves away before before punching Deku yet again. Deku jumps upward, spins, and goes in for a punch, but the Nomu will catch Deku and slam him onto the ground. Blood begins to pour from Deku's body. And as this happens, the doors to the USJ will explode open. And there will be all the pros. But amongst those pros will be Deku's father. And he sees Deku in a brutally bloody and battered state. And before All Might or any of the heroes can react on time, Hasashi launched forward, immediately forming a gigantic water fist, water gauntlet more or less, and binks the Nomu square across the face. And the Nomu is sent flying. As it's sent flying, Hasashi will lift up his hands as a bunch of water swords would shoot forward towards the Nomu, slamming blades all into it. You see Deku bleeding out on the ground as the Nomu is literally has a bunch of water sources impaled all throughout its body. Hasashi proceeds to bend down and pick up Deku, but as that happens, the pros yell, Hasashi! Hasashi proceeds to look out of the corner of his eye, and the Nomu's coming in for a punch, but he would form a water barrier around them. The barrier blocks the Nomu as Hasashi lifts up his hand, and the Nomu is thrown back by the barrier, literally exploding and sends the Nomu flying. Hasashi then proceeds to just turn with a look of just absolute psychoness in his eyes. It's okay, Izuku. It's okay, Izuku. I'm sick of this. Hasashi will step forward, and as soon as he does, a little wave of water, water begins to form underneath his feet, right? And he starts zooming, basically skating at rapid speeds. He starts absolutely dominating the Nomu. Although the Nomu's physical strength and its shock absorption is crazy strong, it doesn't matter because Hasashi literally has water powers. You cannot. Shock absorption isn't gonna work when you're drowning the entire time you're fighting your opponent. He's drowning it from the inside out, so he shoots water swords. The water swords can pierce through the Nomu, but it can just regenerate. But the issue is the water is still getting inside of its body. Hasashi is literally just handling the Nomu in the most disrespectful ways possible. Plus, Hasashi's water is equivalent to Endeavor's fire. The issue is Hasashi is running out of water. But that's at least running out of water in his suit. Thankfully for him using said water in his suit, he can still manipulate the water even while it's outside of his suit. The issue is, though, it takes a lot more focus to do so. It don't matter because Hasashi's Hasashi, and he's putting these hands on the Nomu. Not only is Hasashi's water stupidly powerful, but his water can also enter a semi-solid state. So basically, he can control the density of his water, and not only control the density of it, he can make his water basically everything Deku can do, Hasashi can do, but currently Hasashi is stronger. And he's more experienced. So anything I made Deku be able to do, aside from teleporting, turning into water, and what I'm going to make Deku be capable of doing, and except for the steam thing as well, because Hasashi just can't do that. But aside from the things I'm going to have him be capable of doing later on, everything that Deku could do in the beginning, Hasashi's going to be able to do the entire series. And I may give him new powers every once in a while, but nothing really crazy. Hasashi ends up dunking a punch from Nomu as he would form a water spear, and he starts just absolutely destroying the Nomu, slicing his arms, its fingers, its legs off. Hasashi's embarrassing it. And as he goes in, he's thinking about it, Shigaraki says he killed a kid. And as this is said, Hasashi would turn at Shigaraki, and the Nomu literally jumps over Hasashi and goes to finish off Deku. And as soon as that happens, Hasashi shoots water chains that wrap around said Nomu, and with no hesitation, he grabs that water spear. Using said chains, he reels the Nomu in forward towards him and slams the spear into the Nomu's brain. Instantly, the spear proceeds to explode afterwards. And Hasashi looked onward with a look of just pure darkness in his eyes. No one hurts my family. He would say, just so coldly. And Shigaraki's like, whoa, Hydro, you're a fucking badass. And Hasashi just turns. You're next, he would say so bluntly. I'm next, huh? You'll have to catch me first. And Shigaraki proceeds to walk through a portal and dip. With Shigaraki gone, and all the villains have been taken care of by the other pros, well, the USJ attack is now over. Deku is now rushed to the hospital. Now, guys, like I said, Deku's the most powerful in his family. He's the most powerful child. The most powerful in his family is still going to be Hasashi. For now. Well, really, Hasashi lost that position a couple minutes ago, but you'll understand sooner or later what I meant by that. But, with Hasashi being the one who is primarily the most powerful in their family, that's the reason why he was able to absolutely just obliterate the Nomu. That's also the reason why Hasashi's able to make his water explode. Deku's able to do so. Well, actually, Deku is able to do so. He's able to release his water out in explosions, but he can't make his water just splat, just boom, like Hasashi can. And that's going to be an ability that Hasashi has that Deku will have to learn over time. And when Hasashi makes that bitch blow up, that bitch is genuinely blowing up. Like, it's literally exploding. The only difference is it's not going to have fire, but instead it's going to be water. But it has the impact and the pressure and the power that an explosion has. Hasashi's that nigga. Anyways, time skip, baby. You see Deku. Deku Mameku Kakeku. Chillaxing. Taking it easy, man. What the fuck am I talking about? You see Deku sitting there. As he's sitting in his hospital bed, Hasashi would enter. Are you okay? Am I okay? Am I okay? Deku proceeds to ask him, why do you think I would be okay right now? I failed. I lost. I couldn't protect everyone. I couldn't do the one thing that I've been good at my entire life. I fucking lost. I couldn't win. I couldn't beat that thing, and you're asking me if I'm okay? No, I'm not okay. Everyone could have died. If you wouldn't have showed up on time, I would have died. I'm not okay. I feel like I'm pathetic. Hasashi would tell him that he's not pathetic. He's the future of their family. And he has to understand, he has more potential than he does. Way more potential. Right now, the only thing that's holding Deku back, actually nothing is. Nothing is holding Deku back, okay? He's just young. His quirk isn't fully developed. He has to understand that. His quirk doesn't fully develop until it absolutely needs to. Except, so my death wasn't something to trigger it? How do you don't know that? I mean, after all, you produced steam and controlled it. This caused Deku to look at him confused. What are you talking about? Hasashi proceeds to show Deku a video with Deku's body steaming and him rising up, flying towards the Nomu and hitting it with a last-ditch effort to protect Hasashi, like to protect Aizawa. And to the Nomu, straight up, instantly put his ass down. But Deku sees it, he's like, but that I don't know how I did that. Doesn't matter, kid. You have 2 weeks off from school. We're training. You're gonna learn how to do that, man. I'm gonna show you how to make a hydro bomb next. With that being said, that's what Deku and Hasashi would do for the next 2 weeks. Now, when Deku returned back to school, Aizawa ends up telling him they had to get ready because the UA Sports Festival is coming up. But the class notices that Deku is noticeably different. Okay, he's off. Everyone notices that, including Aizawa, All Might. And as this happens, All Might calls Deku into his office. Now, Deku enters the office of All Might, and All Might would tell him to sit down. Listen, Izuku. Time skip. So your quirk isn't your quirk. Interesting. I don't know. I would accept, but I want to be a hero with my own power. I don't want to have to rely on your power. So, honestly, no. This causes All Might to look at Deku confused. Izuku, what I've seen so far, you're the best pick. Sure, you have a little attitude, but I mean, I feel like it's better in order to put people in their place every once in a while. I'm saying this because I'm not sure if I said he wasn't going to get one for all. And if I did say that, I changed my goddamn mind. As All Might would tell Deku to just think about it. And Deku proceeds to walk off. With Deku walking off, he begins to think. Hasashi's powerful. He's the most powerful in that family, but he's only the number 3 pro hero. And that's only in Japan. If nationwide heroes were a thing, Hasashi would be at bottom of the top 20s. This causes Deku to stop, turn around and walk back into the office and says, never mind, he wants to quirk. And as this happens, All Might explains that he gotta eat his hair. The fuck? Deku would say, fuck? Could he fuckity no. And almost like, but if you eat my hair, you'll get the quirk. Why would I want to eat your hair? I don't give a damn. Young Midoriya, it's the only way. Exchanging DNA is the only way, correct? Omega would nod. Okay, then we're just gonna do this the easy way. Deku slices, like his hand just slices open, and he proceeds to slice open All Might. Well, from there, they go shake hands. And they just awkwardly held hands for a minute until Deku let go. Okay, transferred. With this being said, Deku then proceeds to go home. With Deku going home, he goes back into his backyard, which is, by the way, a fucking, like, a humongous lake, okay? His backyard is dead as a lake. Actually, their whole house is surrounded by a lake. So when Deku goes into, like, his backyard, he begins to train, because Deku trains 24/7. He actually matter of fact, he woke up 3 hours early to go train. And then, by the way, this is the day of the sports festival, by the way. So yeah, Deku goes into his backyard and proceeds to lift up his hand to lift up the water, or to like see how much of the water he can rise. And this nigga proceeds to raise the whole river around them. And with their house being the only thing remaining dry in the center, he just pulled a Moses. And when Deku sees that, his eyes would widen in absolute shock. He slowly would put the water back down, at least so that it wouldn't be too loud to wake Inko. It still woke her up, because it's a whole lake just suddenly slamming down. Even if it was slowly, she still heard that shit. Inko wakes up. She goes outside like, what the hell? Mom, I just picked up the lake. So, your dad does that like every day as part of his basic workout routine. No, I did that with one hand. And Inko just looks at him, okay? Mom, Dad struggles with that. And Inko's like, okay, Zuko, I believe you. It's okay, sweetie. And she just turns around and starts walking away before Deku proceeds to do it, like right in front of her, lift up the whole lake. And this causes Inko to stop and turn. Maybe it's because of your quirk awakening. After all, when you did fight in the USJ, your quirk did awaken, Izuku. That's the only explanation we could come up with for the steam. Your family can't manipulate steam. It's not a thing that you guys can just do, so it had to have been that. But it's okay. Inko proceeds to walk back into her home. With Inko walking back into her home, you see Deku proceeds to turn around and start back training. He continues to see what all he can do now, and Deku begins to realize he can now create more unique water constructs, more interesting water constructs. He begins to create water Gundams, water guns. He literally creates a water grenade. He starts literally shooting splashes of water out of his hand, one strong enough to fucking crush the ground beneath his feet. Deku then starts thinking, is it because of All Might's quirk? And obviously enough, guys, it is because of One For All. He begins to try to figure out what all he can actually do with One For All. Until he throws a punch. And mind y'all, Deku is going to be able to handle, and this current version, Deku can handle 60% One For All, no issue. But he still did 100%. But his bones aren't going to break from using 100% because he can already handle 60%. But he is going to sprain his arm. Okay, only a little sprain that it can easily be healed. But yeah, he sprained his arm and fucking panicked. With that being said, he ends up, Inko take him to a little quirk doctor real quick before they left. He got healed up and he just left and went to school. Anyways, him arriving at school, like I said, they know something's off, blah, 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 blah. Speech is still going to be Bakugo because he scored highest on the exam. But as Bakugo was giving his speech, Deku interrupted him. Yeah, look, I'm going to keep it a buck. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. And Deku says this out loud, no hesitation. And everyone just stops and turns. Kazuki Bakugo, you may have scored highest on the entrance exam, but let's not forget that you do not represent Class 1A, as you are not the strongest within Class 1A. I am. Until Deku was trying to speak, he hears bullshit. And he will turn, and Todoroki's walking up. Okay, then we'll just find out in UA entrance exams. which one of us is really the strongest. But let's just keep it real. We all know it's gonna be me. And as this was said, Deku just has a little smirk on his face. And trust me, you're gonna find out, Shoto. As if you're any stronger than Shoto Izuku. As this was said, Deku and Todoroki would both turn in annoyance, as both of them see Endeavor just yelling that shit at the top of his lungs in the crowd. And at the same exact time, him and Todoroki would say, "Shut up, Endeavor!" And this just causes the people in the crowd like, "Oh, shit." Okay, guys, I'm going to do something that was never done before, but I'm not going to really spoil it quite yet, but just know, the match is going to be pretty interesting. Anyway, so that being said, we cut on over towards the race. The race will begin, and as soon as the race begins, Deku creates a water surfboard, steps on that mud, zoom, zooms clean off. Instantly, he begins to zoom on his water surfboard, easily bypassing literally everyone that comes near him. Everyone that's in the way, he zooms past him. Every obstacle, Deku's able to zoom over it. Like, he's literally just flying over all the obstacles. And if he isn't on the surfboard, he would just be flying with water wings. It really didn't matter. I could have just made him teleport to the end, but Deku isn't stupid. Something's off about this race, and he was not going to get first place. So he begins to slow himself down on purpose, and towards whenever the end is coming up, Deku would stop. And boom, mind y'all, before this, All Might told Deku that he could probably only handle around 40% withdrawal. Now Deku's certain that he could probably do a little bit more than that, because like, you know, All Might said his bones would break. Like, his bone didn't break, it just got a little sprained. Which means that he could probably handle way more than 40, but for now, Deku thinks he believes, theorizes that it's probably about 50. Of course, you guys know it's not 50, it's 60. He can handle 60%. But freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, freedom too. I definitely said the wrong lyrics. Then I don't care, guys. My Black History program was amazing, and I've been having straight Negro songs in my head that sounded racist, but I'm black. I can say it. I can say it. Okay, so straight black people songs, straight heritage, my heritage. Music has been in my head this entire time. It's so hard for me not right now not to burst out and start singing and lift every voice and sing. It is so hard for me not to like just randomly blurt out just music, okay? Like, so it's about like 10 times I almost says days never finished. Master got me working. Anyways, happy Black History Month. Let me keep this bitch going. Deku was in. Anyways. Deku was seen standing at the end when Bakugo decides to be a dumbass and flies past him, getting first place. As that happens, immediately Bakugo begins to talk cash money shit, saying that he's better than Deku. And obviously enough the damn nerd wasn't gonna get first place to fucking. He said he didn't call him the fucking splat. He calls him, I don't know. He calls him water gun. He says the fucking water gun wasn't gonna get first because he's better than that fucking worthless ass water hose. And as this was said, Deku just slowly starts tilting his head like he's about to swing on Bakugo. And it takes everything in his power not to do so. But he breathes in, breathes out. Good job, Bakugo. Good job, man. What? I said good job. You're not gonna. I don't care for real. Fucking bitch. Bakugo to say. That was like, bro, I can't. I literally can't win with this guy. It's so hard not to bust him in his shit right now. And as I was said, Bakugo ears were perked up. It's so hard not to what? You think you gonna do something to me? Do it then, nerd! Deku just turns around and swings instantly. And as this happens, Paramount says, "Whoa, not now, contestants! Wait up now, dukes, because we got something a lot more important coming up." Cut the cameras. President proceeds to cut the cameras as he proceeds to walk down there. If either one of you fight, disqualified immediately. But don't worry, you have a couple seconds before you actually can fight. So, you know, we're gonna go to commercial break real quick, and we'll be right back. Purified drinking water. Have you ever had some excellent water? Water so good that it just makes everything cringe. Like water so good that you can feel it flow throughout your body. Try Clover Valley purified water. Now back. Anyways, the match will start. Deku's team is going to consist of Deku, Tania, who's the entire time Deku's been flirting with. But Deku, Tania, Tsukiyomi, Kirishima, and for, I don't know, humanity's sake, Shino, because why the fuck not? And this is Deku's team. Deku sees the team. He's just like, all right, we got this. And they do in fact have it. Bakugo, who has the 1 million headband, doesn't care about nobody else because he knows no matter what happens, he's gonna get first place. So he comes flying in towards Deku and goes in for an explosion. Deku proceeds to lift up his hand as a wave of water rises up and proceeds to slap Bakugo into the air. Deku then proceeds to grab said water, throw it onto the ground. The water, like the water bounces up, launches Deku into the air. As he then would spin, water would coat around his foot as he kicks this man with all his might and strength, and it beats him straight to that ground. He kicks him straight to the ground. With Bakugo literally like falling over, Bakugo proceeds to like dead ass roll over. Ouch! And Deku proceeds to look at him just like literally saddened. As his headband literally just flies off his head and into Deku's hand. This is gonna be interesting. We now time skip. Deku is now finished, and with this being said, we're gonna skip past all the lane matches, and we're gonna cut on over towards the final match. And yes, I said the final match. You would see President Mike looking onward. This here will consist of a triple threat match in between Kazuki Bakugo, Izuku Midoriya, and Shoto Todoroki, all competing for first place. The first one to be eliminated would, of course, gain third place. Second would, in fact, gain second place. While the last one standing within this ring, whether that is conscious or unconscious, will gain first place. Please be prepared. This one's gonna be a big one. Where the hell is Cementos? We need this dude out here right now because this shit is finna get funky. I know that was Cornet. Let's start. The match would start, and Bakugo and Todoroki at the same time would shoot Bakugo would shoot an explosion, and Todoroki would shoot a wave of ice. As it happens, Deku proceeds to jump over both of their attacks, and with Bakugo's the heat from his explosions melting Todoroki's ice, this now gives Deku a supply of water, who proceeds to literally wave his hands downward, and the wave of water just smacks right into Todoroki. As it hits Todoroki, Todoroki will freeze the water on contact, as he then proceeds to turn around and fire a blast of fire towards Deku. The fire comes flying in towards Deku. As he sees Deku's like, are y'all just jumping me? It's a triple threat! As this is said, Bakugo hears it and he's like, oh yeah. And he turns around and throws an explosion at Todoroki before shooting one to the ground. His explosion will hit Todoroki whilst his other one will lift him into the air, literally spinning him as he does so. And he proceeds to hit Todoroki with a spin, like a literal, if you guys watch that video, he basically hit him with a flying solo that slams his head into the mat. As soon as that happens, Todoroki proceeds to shoot over, he literally touches the mat. The whole ring would freeze, which beginning to cause Bakugo to slip up a little bit as he slipped, and he almost slips towards the end of the ring before shooting an explosion to launch himself back in there. He then explodes upwards and just start raining explosions downward to melt the ring or destroy it. He didn't give a fuck what really happened, before launching himself back forward towards Todoroki and goes in with an explosion. The explosion is then counteracted by a blast of water as Deku jumps upward and kicks Bakugo, as in he would duck and punch Todoroki in the face. As immediately Bakugo would launch in for an explosion that Deku would immediately block with a water shield, but the explosion would hit Todoroki and Todoroki is sent flying. Deku then would just point and laugh at him as this happens, and Todoroki would stick up his middle finger and say, fuck you, bitch. As the two of them would stare at each other for a moment. As they begin to walk towards each other, Bakugo then interrupts their moment by spinning and bing kicking Deku. Deku then proceeds to trigger one for all, and boom! He punches Bakugo square in the stomach as a burst of wind is released and Bakugo is sent flying. Well, from there, Deku will flick his finger and immediately hit Bakugo with the fucking wind palm. Well, not wind palm, but he hits him with he hits him with the wind. He begins to do this over and over and over again. And as this happens, Tania's watching. She's like, wait, since when could he control wind? And the class like, since when was he that damn strong? As I would say, well, Izuku's always been capable of doing things at that level. When he's around a lot of water, his strength begins to increase. The more and more water he's around, it increases. After all, he is the son of Hisashi Midoriya. And he is a family of the Midoriya family. You know, formerly kin to the Shimaraki family, kid to the Todoroki family, We are not related. Endeavor and Hisashi would say at the same time, yes, you are! As I would then would say, shut up! You guys are related. Stop beefing. Okay, cool. Well, from here, Bakugo would launch an explosion forward, but Deku would calm himself. And as he does so, steam emits off of him, and Deku would dodge. Bakugo is then burned by said steam, as Deku hits him in the guts with a mean punch that launches Bakugo upward. Deku then would jump upward, as the steam from his feet would launch forward as he proceeds to go in for a punch to Bakugo's face. But Todoroki shoots a pillar that launches himself forward as he goes in for a punch to Deku's face. And for here, we're going to end this part off. Yep, cliffhanger. Who's going to win? I don't know. You guess. When I say you guess, I mean, you kind of already know. But it doesn't really matter, because this is going to be getting off part 3. Part 4 will most likely be the finale. Or it most likely will be part of the movie. Honestly, I might just make it into the movie, but you never know. You never know. Anyways, that being said, I'm out. Please enjoy. King Crisis is gone.